Okay, here we go, our asymmetric cut. I'll begin on the left side, come out my clean section. I have my section angle mimic the angle that I'm actually cutting. My elevation is quite low. Right here I'm keeping the elevation at about 10 degrees. So I'll start to build up my elevation gradually with each section so I can throw math into play. So for the second section, I'll elevate to 20 degrees. So the deviation mathematically between my elevation will be 10 degrees. So again, the first section, I elevated to 10. Right here on the second, I'm elevating to 20. So as you comb out the hair, stand in front of what you're cutting. Make sure you comb the hair super clean. So here with the third section, my elevation again increased to 30. And just work in small, manageable areas. Make sure you comb the hair super clean from roots to your cutting line. And you can start to incorporate math. So if you play with, okay, 10, 20, 30. Okay, so now we're moving into the back, curved, diagonal section. I'll take my guideline from the side. I'll match my comb to the exact angle that exists at the side. And then through the back portion, I have to watch my elevation. So I start cutting from high to low. So again, lining up, make sure you comb the hair super clean from roots to the ends. And with each portion of this section, I'll be decreasing my elevation. So this is an additional form of graduation that we're creating through the back. But again, it's a large section, so I'll break it into manageable pieces. I'll match up my guideline from the side and the first section to the back. Now, notice the elevation. Elbows high, fingers low, fingers aiming towards the opposite shoulder. And here I start to reduce my elevation. I'm starting to lift the hair not as high, lower piece by piece. This section is quite large, so I know I have to break it down into 3, 4, maybe 5 more small, more manageable areas. So don't rush this, because controlling elevation is really challenging. Okay, so now let's get into your body position. So for this technique, we know we're matching up our guideline through the sides and we're going to cut from high to low. So technically, if I were cutting a fluid round graduated shape, I would pivot my body with each portion of the section. But this time, since I intend to create a longer length through that right side, my body position is consistent throughout the back portion of this haircut, i.e. my feet and shoulders are slightly behind her shoulder throughout the entire haircut. So my body position will allow me to control my over direction to a much higher level of accuracy. Okay, so next, diagonal section. Notice the amount of elevation to the first area. So again, this area is cut on guide. I'm matching the length through the sides. And this next section that I'll pull out, I elevate slightly lower. So again, my elbows are high, fingers are aiming low. And my body position, they're just right behind her shoulder. And my feet and shoulders stay there. My shoulders actually jump asymmetric. So while I'm cutting this asymmetric shape, it's an acute angle, I physically also become the exact same acute angle, because this will give me the greatest amount of control. So again, diagonal section. Notice my body position. Elbows high, fingers low, and I'm again cutting in a shape that goes from high to low. And the hardest part about this is your over direction and making sure that you comb the hair super clean from roots to ends. You have to make sure that the hair that you comb is exactly parallel to the teeth of your comb. If you get like swiggles or gaps and you cut, that actually means that your guideline's off and you have longer and shorter lengths. Okay, so then I'll go and comb the hair to natural fall, and I'm just like removing some like blemishes. So just combing the hair to natural fall and just like using the tips of my fingers and shears and just refining that line. Okay, so now we're getting to the longer portion. So I section the hair out, I comb the hair to natural fall, actually down onto the cape, onto her skin, and I use my comb, and there I'm cutting in my A-line shape through the side. So here I'm at a 0 degrees. I can also use my fingers. So comb the hair to natural fall. You can use a comb, fingers, or just from natural fall cutting. You can also have her turn her neck sharply to the opposite side and then cut that way, because a lot of times it's quite challenging just to maneuver yourself around the shoulders. Again, comb to natural fall. Make sure your guideline is super clean. If your guideline isn't that clean, go back to the section where your guideline started to become like messy, because that means there's mistakes there. And there's no point on working off mistakes, because when you try to work off mistakes, your mistakes just get bigger. There are no shortcuts. So the best thing is always to do it right the first time around, or just do it to your physical best. Like your best today will pale in comparison to your best in 5 years, because we're always growing and evolving. Just that heightened awareness will allow your growth process to just be, it's like putting gasoline on fire. You'll just boom, and you'll get stuff like, okay, just still working off the guideline, making sure that I comb the hair to natural fall. Natural fall is challenging, so you have to like make assessments. You have to look at which comb from roots to ends, make sure that there's no sags, so that tension to the comb actually helps a lot. So now I'll take it all the way over to the parting, and again the same process, just cutting a 0 length through that opposite side. And the hardest part here is actually hitting natural fall. And then at this length, when you're cutting off the contours of the human body and a cape, you can only get that line so clean. Just give it 100%. So now the additional area, I'll just go back and I'll just check it in to the lengths to the side. So here I'm elevating slightly higher. So I'm matching it up at like that 30-degree angle, because that was like the angle of the last section. And I left this out intentionally. Eventually I'll have to go and blend it. So when I cut the left portion, this last section area, I just left it out. So I'll come back, and now that everything has more of a form, I can check it in. Or if I cut it all the first time, no big deal. But once the opposite side is finished, I would come back and just make sure everything checks in. Because like, especially around the crown area, that area, the way the mass is distributed, it covers a high volume of area. Like the crown area, you have to think about the sides and the back. Okay, so here I'll jump into the blow dry. Okay, and with the blow dry, I just want to make sure that that cuticle is nailed shut. So I'll always use enough tension just to get each strand of hair super smooth, super sleek. So you can use that via tension. Tension is like your best friend while you're finishing. You can use more tension, you can lighten off the tension depending on the end result that you aim to achieve. Make sure that the nozzle of your dryer is following your brush at about 10 to 15 degrees, because that's what I found the best angle to close up that cuticle faster and more accurately. So again, for the finish, I'll be using leafing, beveling. I didn't flat wrap this shape because it's quite long to begin with. But again, just leave that hair, watch the nozzle to paddle brush angle. And as I finish the hair, I don't like to make gigantic arm movements. I can move my back, I can lean backwards if I need to move back. I can bend my knees if I need to do back. I can lean forward from the hips if I need to move forward. That way I'm exerting less effort but achieving the same result. Blow drying is exhausting, so one thing you have to remember, conserve your energy, especially on super thick hair. That's one thing that kills a lot of people about super thick hair, is the blow dry. And the blow dry actually kills me too, but then I have this mindset, I have this discipline that no matter what it is, I'll do it at 100%. But there's a lot of ways to achieve the same end result, so by working smarter, not harder. So that's why I try to minimize my arm movements and I'll use my body so I can get that. I like playing that 80-20 rule, so I use 20% of effort will give me 80% of the results, especially on long hair. In the salon, after this haircut, because it's quite intense, it's quite complicated, so your mind's already, it's already spinning, right? So if you go and you overcomplicate this blow dry, by the time the important stuff comes up, that means once the blow dry is done and the hair is polished, smooth, shiny, and then you have to go and refine and check off your shape, and your energy level is quite low because you spent a lot of energy on the haircut, it will have a lasting impact on your overall result. You'll have less energy, and when we have less energy, our level of production becomes diminished. So you have to be aware of this. Awareness is half the battle. So if I'm aware of my challenges, I can prepare for them ahead of time. So the best way, one thing I picked up from cutting super beyond super thick hair for over a decade is I don't really need to go and burn out all my energy on the finish. So again, less is more. So again, just closing up that cuticle, just beveling the hair, no hurries. I don't want too much root lift. I'm using a lot of tension here just to get that cuticle scale like nailed, because prior to the haircut, her hair was, I used pre-lightener on the side, so whenever you're using pre-lightener, it'll kind of affect the end result. So I'll have to use more tension through the lighter side with the brighter color. So now that the hair is dry, I'll go back and I'll start cleaning up my line. And when I'm working in details, when you're cutting, make sure your eyes are always at a level where you can actually see what you're doing. So here, like my body is like some contortionist position, like a super yoga position. It is what it is. You have to do what you have to do to get that result. So now as I move to the longer side, I'll comb the hair to natural fall, still using tension between the back of my comb. And I'll just keep on combing the hair, polishing it, combing the hair, polishing it, and making sure each time I comb the hair is to natural fall. This may take time, but the more effort you put in this haircut in the salon, the less effort your client will have to put into the hair every day at home. She'll find it, wow, this is easy to manage, it falls into place by itself, and those type of clients, they actually come back. So details always win. So I'm just going through the top, just texturizing the shape. I'm not removing my technical shape, I'm just removing heaviness. I want to be able to comb the hair smoothly from roots to ends, and that's the best indicator that I found to let me know, okay, enough is enough, because sometimes you can texturize and you can go way overboard. So that's the standard that I use most of the time, just being able to comb the hair from roots to the ends. Okay, just still removing heaviness in the hair. Now it flows smoothly. So she already had a fringe, so I'm just going back and I'm just refining that fringe a bit, and I'm cutting a little bit of curvature, because cutting in like really hard angles would be fine, but for this shape that I cut, it feels a bit softer. So I want to go in and cut like a peak that exists right at her nose between her eyes. So to do this, as my scissors close, I adapt my angle and just keep on working that fringe back and forth, just working it, and I'm going for something quite heavy here. Just those minor details are everything. Make sure your eyes are right in front of what you're cutting. And I just run my fingers through the hair, just getting a feel for how it'll flow. All right, and there we go. There's our asymmetric cut. Enjoy.